CommunityView, the commentator, the president, CEO of Mad Dad's Minneapolis is in the house. And he brought a little help, and I showed up and needed that mom's division.
That's right.
Mad
Mother
Dad.
Deb. Mother Deb is in the house.
Mother Deb is in the house. And you know, Mother Deb, shout out to all the mothers today.
Hey, hi moms, I love you. Thank you for tuning in.
All right. We've got a lot for you today. Today is August 9th.
It is.
Tuesday,
Absolutely.
primary.
Absolutely. And you got to get out and vote. Your vote counts. It could take 1 to 100 votes to make a difference. If you want people that you want to stay in and do the work, or if you want new people to come in and do work, it's your opportunity. It's America. People out there holding signs right now, reminding you to get out and vote, because voting is important. There was a time we couldn't vote. There was a time that we weren't able to vote. And now we have the opportunity. And I hear people say, well, it ain't going to make no difference. They didn't use a vote. It will make a difference. We got people here today. We got guests already.
Absolutely.
Over here, we got a young lady that's working with our high school students. Coming up here, we got a special guest. We got 2 other people here that are here that we're going to find out who they are and all that on our morning show right here live. SB Barber Morning Show. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing in the community. Some great work. You're doing great work.
Look right in that camera.
My name is Jane Barish, and I have I'm with an organization called Continuum Center. Our work is to explore the nature of human consciousness, human capacity, and the interconnectedness of life, which sounds very out there, but it's very grounded and practical. And I've been working actually in North Minneapolis since 1991 with a program that is designed to help shift the who they are and what they're capable of, and a set of operating assumptions for how to create a reality. And in my 25 plus years working in North Minneapolis, I have wonderful stories. One of my all-stars is Carino Burley, who is from North Minneapolis, and I met him at Harrison Secondary in 1991, a school that then was a lockdown school and was sued for being a warehouse for young black men. Carino became the first kid in his whole family to go to college, let alone graduate, and actually started at Harrison Park. One football and one basketball team that has now grown to 8 basketball and 8 football teams that has taken the state championship for 6 times.
Wow.
And, you know, I have been working with the North High basketball team for the last 3 seasons, and I brought in as a vision and focus coach to work on mindset development. So Coach McKenzie knows my work and brought me in, and so I was very grateful to be part of the team that took them from worst to first and to state champions. And more importantly, this most recent team, all the seniors are off to college, and 75 to 80% of the players are on the A&M honor roll. And they are now this summer working as interns with younger kids through Boys and Girls Club, through 21st Century, and through a program run on Saturdays out of North High for really young kids to train the younger kids in what they've learned about focus and mindset and creating new realities.
We I get 3 points?
Yeah, really
Number
great.
1, we just salute Coach Larry McKenzie.
Yes.
He is a partner, as Mad Dad's is, with Stop the Lane Not Movement. But I like what you said. You made reference that those teenagers now are mirroring positive behavior. That's what it takes. You need a mirror. You need a model. That causes investment in them. Whoever came up with that idea, that was fantastic. Second, you made reference that how you were describing what you do. Break that down, because somebody may need to contact you. They need to understand it. I don't see it being woo-woo.
Well, we work with our organization for 35 years has worked with internationally known scientists and cultural leaders, so brain scientists, physicists, biologists, biochemists, and Native American, West Africans, Indian, Asian, Tibetan, Mayan, and Egyptian leaders to create a program that really challenges our assumptions about what we're capable of and how to develop internal resources. So one thing that internal.
What is that?
Like your capacity to focus. Right now, attention deficit is everywhere, and our response is to put kids on medication rather than to teach them the right way to breathe. And people don't know this. There are 2 ways to breathe. There's shallow breathing, which most people do in their chest, and there's breathing in your diaphragm, in your belly. And if you watch a baby or an animal, when they breathe in, their stomach goes out. That's the right way to breathe, and your breathing affects your brain chemistry. So shallow breathing puts you in fight or flight, kicks out all the chemicals that have to do with stress and anxiety, and the wanting to get up and run or fight. So kids are pumping their bodies with all the chemicals that run counter to the capacity to focus and be calm. And when these boys have learned focusing, it is amazing how they control their bodies, their minds, and their behaviors. So something as simple as that, and now they're teaching these young kids, and this breaks my heart that even young kids are already, ingrained with the stress breathing. So we're working with them to get their breathing right, and it is amazing. And then we add the focus. So try to keep your attention on your breathing. And I've had kids, I have attention deficit, I can't do it. And the other kids in the room will say, no, you can learn how to do this. And so they have upped their focus and concentration. And then the vision part is understanding that your imagination as an internal resource is incredibly powerful. And our work has been to demonstrate how your mind can affect not just your body, but your relationships and your circumstances. And most people feel way too powerless and feel like victims. And when you realize, you from the inside out can transform things, but then you got to take responsibility for what's going on the inside in terms of your emotions and your attitudes and your expectations. So, for instance, one student at North High when I started was failing math and was going to get kicked off with the JV team. And through the class, he came to understand how, there's no one reality that people try to shove you into as a box, but it's up to each individual to identify with their imagination and their hopes and dreams what their reality is, and then we give them the tools to create it. So this one kid in 5 weeks, because he was failing math and he was going to get kicked off of JV, and in 5 weeks, because he realized when his instructor said it's impossible for you to catch up on your math, he thought that's her reality, not mine. And so he decided to take responsibility for his reality, and in 5 weeks caught up on all of his math, went from barely playing JV to be a starter and a co-captain on varsity. His name's Etta Walker, and he just got a scholarship to college, which had he failed math because somebody else was shoving their reality on him, who knows where his life would have been. So that story has been replicated many times. So it's really understanding a new way to navigate life. And we use quantum physics and all these things, but break it down. I've taught it down in
Quantum
grade.
physics, what is that?
Quantum physics is this study that's been around for 100 years that says really the universe runs at the deepest level by a new set of rules, not the ones that we have been drilled into. And it's a much more magical, responsive universe than we've been led to believe. And so it's more like a mirror than a machine. And we've been raised to believe it's a machine-like universe that will chew you up and spit you out. It's a jungle, it's you against the world. And when they understand, no, it's much more responsive, but it starts from in here. And we've got, all kinds of stories and all kinds of breakdown in science when they understand how you can influence the out there by working with your in here. So
I just think if we would use that
Yes.
to work with our gang members and work with the folks that feel like there's no hope, if we use that same theory to begin to work with them and help transfer their minds, just doing great things, what would not only North Minneapolis, but the whole United States be?
And that's the point. And our education system focuses on really one part of the brain, the left hemisphere, which is the outward focus, the logical, the analytical, the linear, and the right brain gets nothing, and that's the imagination and the intuition and the introspection. It's much more tied to emotions. And so half of who we are, half that's most human, is ignored. And when they understand that and start to test it out, the stories are phenomenal. I was asked by Black United Fund in Illinois to work on the south side of Chicago in a pilot, and in just 6 to 12 hours. And this was for gang intervention, re-entry from prison, and a job training program. And the stories, I would go down there every other week for a few hours, where people challenge their assumptions about the out there versus the in here, and a new way to transform their reality and take emotional risk and get out of their comfort zone. It was phenomenal. So I know I have so many stories. And
how do they contact you? Because you're an amazing lady. You got so much great stuff going on that we need to use. I know we talked about parking and making some stuff happen, and I'm excited about that, but other people need to check you.
Well, you can go to continuumcenter.net, which is CONTINUUM MCENTER.net, or call me at 612-374-4948, because we're all about, we've been under the radar because our work is very unconventional and people are in their boxes of this is what we need to make things work.
But today, she is out of the box. And actually,
right.
before I could even hit point 3, remember I said point 3? No, you answered it. It was at point 3. You took care of it. Even though you said the new chemistry, it's not new chemistry, it's a God chemistry. We are awakening to his purpose and what this earth was really made about. And as a result of us awakening, we tap in, we can't do anything but be successful. But this woman, she's not spooky. Do you really think the Polars would have been working with her? She helped them go
From worst to first.
from worst to first to championship. And you heard some other names. She not only has a plan, but there's evidence there. So get in touch with her. Wow, if this was WCCO, you need to check her out.
Oh, yeah.
KSTP, KMOJ, you know, we
Check
plug
her out.
everybody because this is
She's
the
bomb.
hub. This is CommunityView. Come in and talk to us. I'm telling you, our lines should be opening right now, asking, what else do I need to know? Educators, remember, today is,
Get out and vote.
that's right, get out and vote.
Today's the primary.
Your
Get
state
out there and vote.
representatives,
That's right.
your legislators, your
Get out and
senators, you better get out and vote because education is primary. And if your senators, your legislators, your representatives have not written bills, have not signed bills, haven't lobbied bills that impact our good for education, that's not the one. You better check the other one. But vote. That's what we encourage you to do. Come by
So
Sammy
if you, and
Factory.
if you don't vote, don't complain.
Absolutely.
Don't vote, don't complain. Don't say anything because you didn't do anything. So it's your opportunity to say, I did something, you got the sticker, I gotta go get mine. I gotta vote after this. That's what we have to do. Because it's important that we get out there and make a difference in our community. And it's important that we have people like this young lady and people like Prophet Barber to do this show and people to serve our community. Worst to first. You know, I was at the banquet. I was a little disappointed that we didn't fill that room up. We didn't fill that room up because there's so much pain in the community. It's hard to fill a room up when there's so much pain. You can't understand and relate to the joy. That's what she's talking about. There's so many things to be excited about that happen in North Minneapolis that we spend so much time on the negative.
Okay.
We got to stop doing that.
Help me out with this. Why is it we fill a room when it's negative? When it's negative? When
Well,
there's-
everybody's there.
Everybody's there. I'm
Everybody shows up.
serious.
Yes,
I'm serious.
it feels
fills a
it's
room.
more easy to it's easier to feel anger and negative emotions. And actually, it's interesting because psychology, up until recently, was totally focused on anger and aggression and depression and anxiety. And you know, we're wired for optimism. That everything functions.
Wow.
Your learning, your relationships, your health behaviors are all about optimism. And yet we do nothing to really support optimism. And it's much easier to tap into because the anger because we've been, you know, raised to believe that you're more realistic if you focus on what's negative. Pollyanna, pie in the sky people.
And that's why Facebook Live and social media, you'll get 1 million hits on crazies. You really will. Crazies. If an organization or some young people decide they want to do an event and they get some rumbling that A and B got beef, they're going to be there. Oh, that word spreads. And they pack the place. Not because of the event, but that was designated territory for crazies. Absolutely crazy. So we did our White Eye Fun Party this weekend, and it was absolutely great. However, we noticed that there weren't a whole lot of numbers there, but the DJ, I'm telling you, he walked up and he said, tell Master Me, this was so positive. I'm coming back. You got me. And out of his mouth, the DJ mentioned what I'm getting ready to say. The Saturday before this Sunday, in South Minneapolis, right up the street from your headquarters at Safari Contemporary Somali Cuisine, and it's no discredit to them, they are the bomb right there. I eat there. But they took a risk and rented out their banquet hall to young people. around the corner, okay? However, and my son went because he has friends. He was so distraught. He was so disturbed about what took place. A young female got into a beef with another female. I believe it was perpetrated. They already knew they were going to do that. You understand what I'm saying? And it shut it down. Shut down big numbers. But we had smaller numbers, but peace, positivity, and violence. You see what I mean?
Right. And that's all people were talking about.
Yeah.
Is how much violence was happening there, and why would they promote that? But they, you know, you have to have a place for young people to go.
Absolutely.
And you have to place, but you have to understand, because when people, positive kids, start inviting other kids, then the negative kids want to come because they're mad, they're angry. You didn't invite me, so I'm going to come. I remember we had a camp for young kids, overnight camp. And because they didn't get invited, they were sending people in and destroy it to make it unfit for it. And so we stopped doing overnights because it's not safe. Not for the kids that we invite, but for the kids that want to have a great time. And they want to post what they're doing, and then people want to come and destroy it. And so we have to get to those kids, and get to their hearts, and get to their minds, and begin to work on it like you're talking about. You work on their minds. Do something different with their minds. Okay, and there's not, their parents aren't doing it. I meet these kids, their parents aren't
Well,
doing
and
it.
I would say the information that I bring isn't readily available, so no one knows really about it, and it's almost like you wonder intentionally, is it kind of kept out? Because, hey, the pharmaceutical industry and prison industry does very well
They want you to
keeping
keep
things how
and they
are.
want to keep you medicated.
Right. Mad and medicated.
Mad and medicated.
So what we're trying to do is have the ones we've worked with, the older ones, be the role models. You know, positivity is a strength. People don't know you're strong if you can dominate physically. And no, this is about more your emotional strength to be able to kind of transcend and choose something different and demonstrate, you know, a new reality. And so we're trying to get that message out.
You know, I want you to say something to our young people, because young people, we love you, we stand with you, and I believe she's got something that she can share with you. Because number one, when you've done something very positive, and then you post it, you're pleased, you're proud about it, and then negative young people jump in and say, oh, that was wet, or young people jump in and say, oh, you know, that's not what's happening, et cetera, and then you shrink, you disappear, you just simply disappear. That's not going to happen on our watch. What can you say to those young, positive young people about standing their ground? And then what can you say to the negative ones that really they're only doing that because they've not been trained, and neither have they been encouraged to not attack that they did not get an invite to?
Okay, before you go there, listen, we got to do a commercial. We're at Sammy's restaurant, and look, this is where you get the famous pastrami breakfast sandwich. Well, I got to tell you, Sammy's has got some good stuff. I got to have this sandwich every time I come. Every time I come, I got to have it. We're taking a peace pledge. Don't forget, this Saturday, we're going to do the Festival for Fathers.
Yes.
We're going to be there. We're going to be there. We're going to broadcast live from there. Festival for Fathers. We're going to honor fathers in our community. They're doing great things, doing wonderful things. Now, I did my commercial. Sammy, I love you, man. Thanks for having us here. Thanks for allowing us to be here. SB Barber Morning Show. We love it. We love being here. I love the sandwich. I'm only about 8 minutes away from getting to my sandwich. I am so excited. Let's answer that question.
Okay, so what I would say is you've got the power to dream and make those dreams come true. But if that precious energy of your attention is distracted so easily and brought down, you won't have any of it left to do the work of creating your dreams. And I have a lot of stories where kids went from a situation where you thought they could never create anything wonderful for themselves to absolutely blowing away everybody's expectations because they had the courage to focus on their dreams and the discipline to keep walking towards them and develop what's on the inside to create a magnificent outside. So it's more important to create dreams than drama. And we're very good at creating drama, and we need to learn to shift.
That's right. So on my end, I know that when you start raising your kids, I know kids that don't know how to read or write or anything. I know a bunch of kids that don't know how because they're not taught. They're television babies. video game babies. They know how to turn your phone on and play a game, but they don't know how to say the ABCs. And I was just reading something where kids should know how to say the ABCs backwards and forwards, just so they can get to it when they need to a letter. And I know kids that don't even know how to say forward, let alone backwards. And their counting stops at 10. And that's because nobody's talking to those kids. You're not even looking at them to find their gifts and talents. I watch my grandkids say, oh, you're good at that. I'm going to buy you one of those so you can do that. That's what we need parents to do. They're not doing that. They're spending their money on other things. They're spending their time in other places. And those kids are being left alone, are raised by their older kids, their older brothers and sisters. We got to stop doing that. See, parenting is a serious job.
Yes.
And if you take it serious, then you'll have a good product at the end. See, parenting is all about the product. When you look at your daughter or your son, you say, look what I did. If you weren't there, you can't do anything. If you didn't put anything in, you can't get much out.
And I just want to say one other thing is another of our resources that is sorely underdeveloped is our imagination. And again, that's the right hemisphere of the brain, where the left is focusing on the out there and the bits and pieces and reading, writing, and arithmetic. And the pull to the out there through video games and whatever, it's always the out there. And if kids were taught to develop their imagination and spend more time in here, even reading is so important, because when you read something, you're not given visuals, you have to create it in your mind. And so whether it's listening to a book on tape or having someone read to you or read yourself, you are developing your imagination rather than kind of being programmed by what you're watching out there. So one thing parents can do or kids can do for themselves is start developing their imagination with reading and just sitting and imagining how you would like your life to be, and then figure out how to take the steps to get there and not get distracted.
Now, how did you get, there's so much up in there. That's why I keep rubbing his head, because there's just so much up there. I got to, I feel a little smarter already. I felt it in me. How did you get involved in this? It's amazing. What got you started?
Well, I mean, I've always been interested in the mind, the nature of personal reality, and so, I studied philosophy, which seemed too out there, and I was interested in science, but science is too much about the physical, measurable aspects of the universe, and we got to get into the non-material, other dimensional aspects of the universe, which we're not taught about. So I went through my own crises of addiction and compulsion and neuroses and anxiety, and this program that I teach now was something I developed to transform my own life and then kind of take it out. So I was interested in areas that conventional society and science and education really didn't do much with, and so I kind of just set out on my own. And now it's entering mainstream a little bit more, but I just had this personal quest and personal need, because I knew that what was conventionally available wasn't going to help me.
Wow, that's amazing. You're listening to SB Barber Morning Show right here live at Sammy's Restaurant Avenue, Sammy's Avenue Eatery. We're having a great time. We're taking that's right, the SB Barber Morning Show, 646-595-323620. Let me say that again, because I wasn't organized enough. 646-595-3620. That's the live studio line. You can call in anytime. SB Barber Morning Show. It is great. And guess about live here in the studio. It's SB Barber Morning. So we've got a studio in the coffee shop. We brought the studio here. And that's his brother here. He's always willing to talk to us. And this sister is just really did a dynamic job. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We really appreciate you. Let's go over and talk to my brother over here. Let's run. He doesn't want to talk today?
I need to talk to her.
Oh, he needs to talk. Now he wants to talk to her now. Now, you see we created some energy here. Let me just say, Festival for Fathers, you going to be there?
That's my plan, because I've never had the privilege of doing that and getting my husband there. So we had booked an event back in May for the school and the youth, and so I think we're going to go ahead and be at the Festival of Fathers. Because I want my husband to be there, so we'll figure all of this out. And I encourage you, families, get out there. Bring your dad. Bring your granddad. You know what? Bring your goddad. Bring the neighbor down the street that you see he really doesn't have any interaction with community. Love on him. The Kings, this is your time.
That's right. It's absolutely your time. And let me just share with you. We got people
Actually,
come on down here. We're going to talk to someone from down here. do a lot of things. I just want to find out who you are. And what's so wonderful is that what do you do?
Well, I'm Tashana Williams from the Trinity Outreach Worker Residential School District. I'm also a peer mentor for Metro Social Services.
Oh, that is great. You know, Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center used to be such a peaceful little neighborhood, right? And then when they tore down the projects in North Minneapolis and relocated people, all Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center said, whoa, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
And they had to wake up call. I was there when they were meeting and saying, what do we do?
Yeah.
Because you have to pay for everything in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center.
Yeah.
Why are you paying for it? There was none of the stuff that's in Minneapolis.
Absolutely.
And they had to break up and really change and get their act together.
Yeah.
So you're part of the school system. How's the school system changed since all those new students have came to Brooklyn
And
Park?
speaking of which, we've got folks running for the school board, and then Brooklyn Park, Reber, Chambliss, and I'm not trying to drop names, but I just remember that I have a right to drop a name if I want to. So you mentioned Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center.
Well, I really like our school district. It's more of a community base, so we work within our community for the most part as far as our programming for our children, as far as our community meetings. We like to bring our families in just to get their opinion on what will help their children. And as a truancy outreach worker, I always try to connect with the families first because I believe that the relationship starts in the home. And if the family thinks that education is important, then the kids think that education is important. So we really try to do a community-based schooling with the 3 schools that we do have in the Brooklyn Center Community District. We try to just bring the families involved and kind of have it more of a family community base than just I guess a business base as far as education.
Did I hear her say truancy?
The Truancy Outreach Coordinator.
Define that. We really need to get a handle on that. As we just met with someone else, and that was our guest.
Yeah.
And she said from worst to first. I like that. Hashtag from worst to first.
Yeah.
Help us with this truancy piece.
Well, what I always do is I always look at it as we're not just giving the kids an education. What we're doing right now is we're trying to save their lives. I think that with them being in a safe place and environment and it's knowing that is actually what our goal is for them, that we can support that way. And it's more so giving them a safe space and then we focus on their action. So if they feel safe with the community and safe with the people that they're working around, they're going to want to come to be around their peers every day. They're going to want to be around the staff every day. But it starts at making them feel comfortable where they're at. Because like you said, since the city has pushed more kids to, suburban areas, they're feeling displaced, and so we got to be able to make them feel more comfortable and know that there's a goal that not only for you to graduate, but we want you to succeed and you have a whole community backing you up.
That's right.
Did you know, and do you know that bullying also is a victimizer in causing children to be truant from school and their parents don't even know it?
Yeah.
It's like the moment the alarm goes off and they wake up to get ready for school. If they're being bullied, they are terrorized and trauma, and they find a safe place to go, whether it's right in the transit, the light rail, all day until the day is over. They'll find some place to go, and the parent thinks they went to school. Help us with that.
And that's where we got to kind of start dialogue with our children, even if it's not your biological kid. You want to start talking about these things because we know that this issue is plaguing our communities, and bullying is becoming more than just face-to-face bullying. It's more on social media, so we have to be able to monitor these things and ask these questions so that the kids are, like I said, more comfortable being able to talk to you about these things because bullying is becoming where kids don't even want to show up at school places or they're avoiding just even going home because they're being bullied at home. So if we're not starting these dialogue to introduce these kids, and this is what's going on. These are the problems that you may face, and these are some of the solutions that we can constantly come up with. It goes back to being comfortable with being able to have the kids trust you so that they're talking to you about these things when they're feeling uncomfortable. I decided this morning where I had one of my mentees, I asked the question, so, are you feeling appreciated in your summer class, like your summer class? Are you interacting with the kids in your summer class? Because if we don't ask these questions, then these topics are never being brought up.
So this is wonderful. You see that? This is wonderful. Listen, there's a bunch of people that my show's about to end. She about to keep this going. Well, come on this way, because you got to meet a couple brothers. In my segment though, I got to say what's up. to the brotherhood. Okay, they in the corner doing powerful things. Don't watch the computer. $1 million on there. My brother Anthony Newby and the rest of the brothers here doing some stuff up in the corner, making it happen. Man, what's going on, bro?
What's up with Mad Dads though?
Hey, Mad Dad is doing it. We on the streets. We're doing it. We're putting it down 7 days a week. You know, we out there trying to put it down, Anthony. Man, I appreciate your work, man. Appreciate you, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what's going on. Just real quick, tell us something. We live broadcasting live SB Barber Morning Show. We do it every Tuesday right here at Sammy's Cafe. Introduce yourself, brother, real quick, sir.
Hey, how are you? Harry Copeland.
Harry Copeland?
Copeland.
Copeland?
Yeah, Inside News.
Inside News? Oh, man, glad to meet you.
John Baker.
Hey, John
He is
Baker,
the new
glad to meet you.
editor
Yeah, he's
at
the new.
Inside
That's a
News.
beautiful thing.
Yes, welcome.
Anthony, when did you start now? 2010. Now think about that. 2010, this brother's done so much. I mean, so much stuff since 2010. He's been powerful. He's been out there. He's been on it. And it's about us coming together, man. And sometimes it's hard out here. I'll be honest with you. There's so much separates us, and it's hard for us to come together. But brother, you've always been a champion to try to make that happen. Continue to do that, brother. Okay?
We love the work you're doing with Mad Dads, man.
Hey, thanks,
It's a
man.
difficult time. It's been a hot summer out here, but you also on every corner, every street. I see on Broadway, I see a couple foods. I see anytime there's a disaster in the community, you all are right there. So we appreciate the work.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you guys, man. Continue to keep the corner going. It's the black corner here. And the brothers are doing their thing. I love it. I love it. SB Barber Morning Show, y'all. We here live at Sammy's Cafe. You talk to a bunch of people, but have you talked to, this is the last person I want you to talk to. Because I'm not ready to eat my sandwich. But these two individuals here, you got my man here, he's a powerhouse, he's entertainment business, all that good stuff, and a whole lot of other things. Then you got the good doctor. You got the doctor. Now this is a doctor of loves because she makes sure everybody's right. She's been putting it down. So I want you to interview these great two people. I'll eat my sandwich. My sandwich get cold. Hey, what's up, y'all?
All right. Thank you for joining us today. And we're encouraging everyone to get out and vote today. We need to make sure that you realize that you have a responsibility. We're talking about the school board, education. You heard us talk about that at the top of the hour. We're talking about our senators, our legislators. Listen, our state representatives. Look at, you can go to our last week's show. There's a link. It's not too late for you to study them. I know you can't digest it all, but you can start somewhere. You know what's important to you. Look for those representatives who are doing that, who's fought for bills that impact that, who's supporting that. And that's what this is all about. All right, I am with Tara Watson. I am a chiropractor.